What's up, y'all, and welcome to another episode of Worldly Church Girl. It's your girl, your host, Lillian Harshaw. On today's show, I have a community activist, an arts administrator, an advocate for educational equality. She was the president of the Madam C.J. Walker Building in Indianapolis, Indiana, and she's opened not one, but 2 dance assemblies for minorities. It gives me great privilege to introduce to you this phenomenal woman, Dr. Terry W. Bailey. Here you are, this little girl from Springfield, Illinois, whose dream was to be a professional dancer. And in 1982, you were a freshman in college as a dance major, and you and your friend decided you're going to go to New York and go see a major black dance company. And you only spent, which cracks me up, $750 for a round trip. So that tells you how times have changed.
Yes.
And you paid $5 premium seats. And in that moment is where you saw for the first time on stage some beautiful African American dancers. At this point is when you found a new love and a newer passion for dance. You decided that you were going to make dance education and arts administration your true passion. Then you graduated from college, you started your own minority dance ensemble, became a professor at Ball State and Chicago State, found another dance company, then became the founder and president and CEO of Cornerstone Center for the Arts. Then, girl, I'm gonna run out of breath talking about all the stuff you did. And then a few years later, for 2 years, you were the president and chief executive at the great Madam C.J. Walker Theater Center in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Yes.
And then you decided that be a part of all these nonprofit organizations. And now you're like, you know what? I'm going to run for mayor. You are something else. You just don't want to leave no jobs for the rest of us, huh?
Yes.
So let's begin with your love of dance. Do you remember the moment you fell in love with dance?
I don't remember ever not dancing. As a little girl, just always bopping around and moving around and not sitting still. And so when I was 3 years old, that's why my parents put me in dance lessons so that I could um, do something with all that movement that was going on. And I didn't realize that I was the only Black student going to dance classes. In fact, I didn't even realize it was. My parents enrolled me in a dance school in Springfield, Illinois, that there were parents that took their children out of the school when they found out there was a Black student that was participating and taking classes. Now, I didn't know that young girl, and my parents didn't share that, but the teacher that and the director that was there at the time really was a forward-thinking person and was not going to keep me from living my dream. So those things were going on in Springfield, Illinois, also. But I was able to persevere and just really stay focused and not even know what was going on around me, because God put me on this earth to dance and to teach others to find find their best creative selves. There never was a time that I didn't want to help people to dance or to dance myself.
And what style of dance did you study?
Well, back then it was ballet, and I did tap and jazz, all of those things, but ballet was the most prevalent thing. And again, I didn't realize that I was the only Black person, but I did realize that my body looked different. It just did. I did realize that I was wearing pink tights, but my body, my color was kind of different. I wore pink shoes and pink tights, but that's all they made back then in the 60s and the 70s. They didn't make flesh color. Flesh color was pink. what it was. My love for dance, I just wore what everybody else wore because that's what I was supposed to do. And it came from the inside out. So I was all about really performing from the inside out, not looking at a mirror and trying to, be beautiful. I felt like I was beautiful from the inside.
I remember when I was a little girl, I wanted to take ballet. So this is when we had encyclopedias. I looked in the encyclopedia under ballet and learned
Mhm.
all the learned the point moves that they had in there because I
Of
just
course.
knew that's all I needed. Once I got that down pat, I was there. Because
And that,
mom
I
and
mean, that is what you do. And then,
mm-hmm.
just learning the fact that ballet, the terminology is French. So I was learning French. I was learning about classical music, even though, on Sunday morning and throughout the week, I was hearing gospel music and I was, in the black neighborhood and hanging out with my black friends. I had a love for dance. So I was able to be exposed to both worlds and know that it was okay.
Now, what was the turning point from wanting to be a dancer to teaching others the appreciation of the art?
Well, once again, as a young girl, I remember in kindergarten when the teacher asked me what I wanted, how they tell you, what do you want to be when you grow up? I knew that I wanted to run my own school for the arts. I knew that from a little girl. Now, back then, they didn't have arts administration, they didn't have those kinds of programs in college. And to know that you were moving in that direction. But I knew that I wanted to be in charge of a bunch of people, whether it was like choreographing an ensemble or directing a play or running a whole center. I knew that's what I wanted to do back then. So there wasn't a turning point. I was brought on this earth to do it, and God's given me those opportunities to do it.
Yes. I mean, what did the teacher say when this little brown girl is like, I'm going to run a company?
I don't think they knew what to do with me. And even in high school, to be involved again with a counselor that my brother, a guidance counselor that my brother and I had, where he didn't believe that black students could excel in school, and so they wanted to enroll us in classes that didn't challenge us, and to push and say, no, wait a minute, we know what we're doing and we're going to move forward and be successful. Just because of the color of our skin, that doesn't mean that we can't be successful and educate ourselves. Those kinds of things, weren't just happening in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s. They were happening in the 70s and 80s, and they still happen to this day. And so we have to make sure that we encourage our young people and encourage each other to do our best and be our best.
Regardless of your differences.
Regardless. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, how did you decide where you would open your dance assembles at?
You're asking some good questions. Um,
Thank you.
yes, I went to Rutgers University in New Brunswick, New Jersey, and again, dealing with lots of people that were wanting to dance and be a part of different programs and performances. We were finding that the students of color weren't being given as many opportunities as other students, other dance students. So I decided to start a company that was called the Minority Student Dance Ensemble, and to give us opportunities to perform on campus and at other campuses, to have fun, but also to learn and to be on stage. And believe it or not, that company is still in existence at Rutgers. I'm very
Oh,
proud of the fact that we were able to bring minority students together to dance, to help each other. And we had to do it. I mean, we weren't trying to protest, we were just trying to give ourselves opportunity. And that's what
yes.
we did.
What was it like working and being the president and the chief executive officer at Madam C.J. Walker Theater? Because that's like the biggest, I feel like one of the biggest honor as a black woman.
There is a nostalgia in that building that you cannot explain, and an honor to be in that building just as a regular patron. So to be in charge of that space and what was going on in that space, I did not take lightly. To be able to welcome people, whether they had been there 100 times or whether it was their first trip to Indianapolis, and to be there to share that story of Madam C.J. Walker and to give people tours of the building and to help people to know, even young people. We started a summer program called Camp Kuumba for young people to learn the arts, to learn about music and dance and theater and drama and spoken word. So giving them an opportunity to be in the building, to learn from African American artists in central Indiana was, again, an honor to provide that opportunity. And again, the organization is continuing to grow. They have a partnership now with Indiana University, Purdue University, Indianapolis, which is called IUPUI, where they are building and doing a capital campaign right now, and giving it the overhaul that it needs. It needs a facelift. It needs some things done to its infrastructure. And people are proud in Indianapolis, but all over the United States, of Madam C.J. Walker. And there was a movie that just came out this year. So more people now are aware of what she did. And she built that theater. Actually, the theater was built because at one point in time, she went to the movies, and the person in front of her happened to be a white person, and that person was charged 10 cents to go into the movies, and she was behind that person, and she was charged 25 cents. And she says, well, wait a minute, that's not fair. And so what she decided to do is, just gonna build my own theater. And so she was not able to see the results of her dream to have that theater available for not just the African American community, but for everyone to see African American arts, to experience the history of African American art. But that was how it was built. There is actually still a beauty salon that's there, Madam Walker Beauty Salon that's there. There's a museum that's there, and there's a campus of buildings that is owned by the Madam Walker Theater.
Yeah, I've been in there and it's a
Ah,
beautiful building.
yes, it is.
So, being a firm advocate for the arts and receiving multiple awards for your accomplishments, how important is it to you to bring awareness and appreciation for the arts?
Well, I think sometimes people separate themselves from the arts. You don't have to be an artist to appreciate the arts. Now, my brother, he's a scientist. He's not going to sing a song. He's not going to do a dance. He's not going to do spoken word, but he can appreciate the arts. He knows that it makes him feel better when he goes to see Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater. He knows it makes him feel better when he hears his favorite song. It makes him feel better when he reads that poem that he really likes, reads it out loud. So an appreciation for creative communication. You know that there are certain colors that you like. And so if you buy a painting or you paint a painting yourself that has those colors in it, it makes you feel better. And so it's important to have that type of appreciation as a performer, as a patron, as a supporter, as someone who can afford to support the artist in the efforts that they're doing. So for me as an administrator, it's helping all of those people to know that they are just as important. We need people to fund the arts. We need people to take the time and toil to present and prepare the arts. And then we need people to enjoy the arts. And so for me, I'm that person that likes to get everybody involved so that they understand their role and in the importance of sustaining and developing the arts.
Because there is something about music and poetry and art forms that cannot reach any part of your soul except for that.
Yeah, and it is a neutralizer also. There are many times when we use the arts to neutralize a situation or to bring people together who might be different from each other or to help people to feel better. And so we might find a piece of music that, because of its frequencies, it helps you to relax or it helps you to interact better or to sleep better. Or again, to see a beautiful landscape that has been painted and it's in your living room. Maybe it reminds you of a place that you have visited. And it's important to be able to have those things at your fingertips and to have those things to touch your soul.
From the arts to politics,
Hmm.
how did that transition come about?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Um, I was working for our city. And again, being connected to all these nonprofits and being on all the boards that I was on, and and just being very visible and very vocal in our community. Uh, I just was doing what I wanted to do, doing what I thought was necessary. And the person who was the mayor at the time had decided not to run for reelection. And so there were people that reached out to me and they said that they wanted me to run for office. And I sort of laughed. I didn't, I thought this is not something that I want to do. But as I talked to my family, and I should share with you that my husband had 2 strokes 4 years ago, and so he's paralyzed. He is at home with an aide and sleeps in a hospital bed. And so when I get home at night, she's gone. Then I take over. So there's an added responsibility of caring for a loved one who has a physical disability and a son who has a mental disability,
Hmm.
uh, a young adult son, African American son who's out, in the streets and trying to make sure that he is safe in the way that he responds to people. Dealing with them and knowing that they both said, and my mother said, "Oh, yes, you should run for mayor. We would support you 100%." And I was hoping they would say no. No, we can't. That's too much for you, or that's too much for our family. But they pushed me and said, "No, we believe that you should run for mayor." Working with all of the people that were a part of our campaign, which, as Jesse Jackson would say, a rainbow coalition of people that just happened. I mean, we weren't trying to find 60% Black and 20% white and 20% Hispanic. It just happened that people felt comfortable and they felt like they belonged and they felt like they were included as a part of our campaign. And it just gave me a chance to know our community in a greater way. And as a result of all of that, I didn't realize I was doing this, but as a result of all of that, I became the first African American, male or female, to win a primary election in our city. I guess I'll be in somebody's history book, hopefully. But that I ran. I didn't run it because, and I was the first female in the Democrat Party to win a primary election and to run in a general election. The first female. It's unheard of. I don't know why, but yeah, I was the first female also. The people that came out and voted for my opponent, and so I didn't win, but I would have done each and every day again because of the opportunities that I had, working with the campaign committee that I had that was top notch, phenomenal, family like, Christian, just we lifted each other up. And I hope that people were watching. In fact, our tagline was "Together We Rise." And I think people are seeing that now. Some of the things that we weren't allowed to do because there were some things that were going on in our party that I didn't agree with. And so we chose to run separately, and had our own, I had my own campaign office, and they weren't giving us the paperwork that we needed. And so we had to go around them and go to the state office. Now I found out that the state office is giving people opportunities to get the information they need and not have to go to the county. So that's one of the things we were able to fix. So there were things that, that allowed us to what I call crack the ceiling, for the next person. So my job now is to pass the baton, to still be vocal and still be visible, but there are other people now that seem to have gotten their voice, and I think it's just marvelous. It's such a blessing to be able to see them and see how they're moving forward and feeling confident in the things that they're doing. But yeah, I didn't that this was not in my 10-year plan, but God sustained us through this last year, and again, I would do it all over again.
I know that you got your both feet planted, still involved in what's going on in Muncie. So just because you didn't win, I know you're still making sure that whoever does, they're gonna have to step up.
Yes, and the weird thing that's happening right now is that I'm doing it behind the scenes. I used to be that person that was out in front, that was, with the bullhorn, that didn't mind sharing, what the people were thinking. But because of the pandemic, the COVID-19, and my husband's pre-existing condition, I have had to be at home. I have had to make sure that I'm not bringing home any disease or anything. So I have been sheltering in place. So going through all of this and all of this COVID-19 and coronavirus, which I believe I had in late February, it has been very difficult to not just say, well, I'm just going to take my mask out and I'm going to go and be with these people. But what it has done, it's allowed me to work behind the scenes and to help those people to do the things that they're doing, to just give them advice or to support them financially or to pray for them or to give them some, some things that they can do to help them. So no, I have not been like on the stage. I've been invited to speak at events and I have said no, but I have recommended that next person. You should ask this person to do it. They're ready.
And with the COVID-19, I've always kind of looked at it as also a blessing because we
Mm-hmm.
are at home. We have to focus on whatever we're working on more intently, more with intention, if you will. Because if you got 500 things going on outside the home, and then you try to go home and try to take care of home and those 500 things, you really can't do it. But now that it's cut in half,
Mm-hmm.
those that 250 that you're working on is worth 1,000.
Because I was one of those people initially where I was doing those 500 things and then I got sick and then COVID hit and I just shut down. And I shut down because I had been spinning and running and going so hard every day with what I called no days off for an entire year. And then all of a sudden, boom, it hits. And
Mm.
I was exhausted. I couldn't lift my arms. Because I couldn't lift my arms, other people were able to lift theirs. People were able to lift their voices and to be visible. And I was able to support them. And it was a beautiful thing. It's still a beautiful thing to see how people are moving forward and stepping up in a way that they may not have done 6 months ago.
Now, I want to go back to your husband being a full time caregiver. How are you doing?
You know, I used to be that person that whenever someone would ask me, "How are you doing?" I would say, "Oh, I'm doing fine. Everything's fine. We've got it all under control." No, we don't need anything. Yes, we're good. And I kept saying that and kept saying that, and the more I was saying that, the more I realized I'm not doing good. I'm struggling. This is not normal. I had a husband that was very active, that worked full time, that, did his own thing, did his own thing. And now he can't do anything. He can't even roll on his side by himself. Can't get up out of the bed. He's in the bed 24/7. 24/7. He can't get up and walk. He can't sit up. And so to go from that um, May 5th, 2016, and 4 days later, he lost everything.
Mm.
And we made the decision not to put him in a nursing home. And that was a decision we made as a family. Figure that out and pretend like it was all okay because I was that person that always, could figure stuff out and everything was always okay. But I had never dealt with a person that had a physical disability that I was that close to, that
Right.
I had to care for 24/7. And I was running back and forth home to make sure that he was clean and dry and fed. And I was doing that because I was close to my work was close to home. And then I realized I can't keep doing this. And so I was able to get that support for him. And there's a person that has to be there 24/7 to assist him. But it was not easy. And it's still not always easy. If there are evenings I come home, even when I was running for office, and I was dead tired, but I had to care for him. I couldn't just stop. He had to have his meds. He had to have his shots. He had to be cleaned up before he went to bed. I mean, those are things that just had to happen. And so I had to find the strength to do that. But, God gave me the strength to do that. He would,
Yeah.
as people say, he doesn't give you more than you can bear. And there were days that I would lay in my bed and I would say, God, are you sure you got the right Terry Bailey? But because of that, it's allowed us to spend more time together. I think it's allowed him to, have contemplation time. But yeah, life is really, really different. And but we call it our new normal. We've been saying new normal for years. That's what people say now. But this is our new normal. This is what we do. This is how we do it because this is who we are.
Yes. And it takes a lot of strength to say you're not okay, too.
Physical strength and emotional strength. Years ago, that I broke my hand, and I'd never broken a bone. I had a cast on my hand, which meant I couldn't push him over on his side so that he needed to be rolled, different times of the day.
Right.
I couldn't change the sheets. I couldn't care for him. And that was a time when I realized God was trying to tell me, I tried to tell you that you needed help. I tried to tell you that when people ask for help, they want to fix you dinner or they want to come over and give you a couple hours so that you can rest. I tried to tell you this. So now I'm going to have to sit you down.
Mm-hmm.
And he had to sit me down because I could do nothing.
We women are nutso like that. We're like, no, I got it. I got it. No, I could take care of him, the kids, the house, my job,
Yep,
the dog, the cat, the fish, and then
yep,
that 1% for
right.
yourself. You too tired to even do that. So
I couldn't even
yeah,
do my own hair. I had to start wearing a wig. So what I did was I had a wig party because I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to do that, let's have fun. So we went to a store that sold wigs, and we had a little wig party, and everybody got to try on wigs because I couldn't even do my hair with one hand.
bless your
It
heart. But I get it. I understand because my husband just got his kidney a few months ago, and
Oh, wow.
so praise God, it was, you know, restriction of he can't lift anything more than 8 pounds. And
Mm.
so that
And
means
everything more than 8 pounds, right?
everything,
Everything.
everything,
Everything.
everything. So it's like, I get it. I don't mind cutting grass. It's very,
Oh.
but it's very therapeutic, but I don't like getting dirty. I I
Mm,
don't
mm,
like
mm.
sweating.
I don't cut grass. Mm-mm.
And
When I met my husband, I told him I don't do outdoors.
see, here's the thing. I never cut grass ever in my life because I had 7 brothers.
There
So
you
I
go.
I had to learn how to cut grass. You know, in nature, I don't like nature. I don't like
I
bugs.
know.
I don't like frogs out here, and I'm cutting grass and this giant frog jumped on my leg and I almost lost it.
Ooh.
I looked across the street and the neighbor was just standing there staring at me. I'm like,
Funny.
and I had my earbuds on listening to music, and I just turned around and just yelled. It was a frog. So I didn't think I was crazy, but he still just went back in the house and shook his head like, okay, she's so girly. You know, I'm like, my nails, I'm like, I had to get rid of my nails. And I was like, oh, this is too much, Jesus. But
Mhm.
so I get it. But again, it was that, that mentality. I could do it. I got this. No
Mhm.
problem. After I cut grass, I'm gonna do laundry and I'm gonna clean the house and I'm gonna do
Yeah.
and I'm gonna cook dinner. But yeah, so I don't understand fully. I empathize for what you're saying. So yes, bless your heart. And you're talking what, going on 5 years now?
4.5.
Four and a
Yes.
half.
Mhm.
God bless you. God bless you. Well, anytime someone offer you some help, please take it.
It took, like I said, it took 2.5 years to figure that out. But yes, I do. Anytime someone offers, in fact, a lady texted me today and said she was going to come pick up the dishes that she brought dinner in, and I'm going to send them back with a note telling her how good it was, and anytime she wants to cook for us again.
Ain't that it? So, do you have any advice for someone who has a demanding career and life just pushes them emotionally into the corner? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, one thing that has really kind of just been on my heart lately has been the term vessel. And a vessel kind of holds things, and you can fill it up, or container, that holds things. And what we tend to do when our containers get full, we have those totes now that we can buy at the store. When our tote gets full, instead of emptying it or cleaning it out or rearranging it, we go to the store and buy another tote. And then we have another tote and another tote till they're stacked up in the garage, or stacked up, boxes are stacked up, vessels. Our vessels are getting full and overflowing. And pretty soon we're just overwhelmed by all that we have, instead of allowing some of it to go. And I see that just the opposite. We fill ourselves up, and then what I'm doing, all the work that, kind of the back into the corner, we're pouring ourselves out. We're pouring out, pouring out, pouring out, pouring out until we're empty. And we're trying to shake this bottle of emptiness.
Mm.
There's nothing there to give, but we're still trying to give. And we're frustrated because we can't do it the way that it needs to be done. We're tired, we're forgetful, we're anxious, we're irritable. And
Mm.
so we've got back in. We've got to figure out how to pour things back into our vessel. Now, that isn't just us doing it ourselves. We've got to, find the time to talk to God. Find the time to listen to that song or that music that makes us feel better. Allow people like the lady that's going to pick up these dishes to cook for us and fill us. We've got to fill ourselves with the things that are positive, the things that are going to get us through, the things that are good and perfect and pure and loving, so that we can give back out. And so it's a cyclical thing that I don't think enough about. And I think a lot of women don't think about it enough, that we give and give, but we don't allow things to come back into us so that we can continue to give again. And so that's what I would share with women, is that it's okay to be empty, but the thing is, we have to know that we're empty and know that we have to fill up again. We have to, in order to do the things that God has put us on this earth to do. We can't do it empty.
Amen. A car won't run if it has no gas.
That is true. And we can
Amen.
get out and push, but imagine how much more tired we would be, how long it would take us to get there, and how we would be once we got there.
Right. And the way me and you don't feel like in the outdoors, we ain't trying to push no car.
Mm, nope, I'm not gonna push a car. And you give your frog story. I actually stepped on a frog this week walking the
Girl.
dog, and it freaked me out because he was running towards something, and I stepped on it, and I freaked out. And then when I went back to look for it, it was gone. So I told my husband, I said, I stepped on a frog. He
It
says,
is
well,
the
did you get it? I said, but
nastiest
it was
feeling.
gone. Oh, it was. It was a nasty feeling.
How can someone contact you?
Well, I'm working on a website that should be done next week, and it will be terrywhittbailey.com.
Okay.
The other thing is that I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, Terry Whitt Bailey. Feel free to connect with me. I'm on LinkedIn. I love to interact. I took some time off, and I'm glad I did, from social media for a while in the spring because I was on it too much. So now I'm not on it as much as I was before, but I do connect every day. My email is also Terry Whitt Bailey, TerrywHittBailey at Comcast. A certified nonprofit consultant. I'm happy to interact with people and help them with their nonprofits, whatever they're doing. If they're trying to do some financial stability, or working on trying to hire a new executive, or trying to write a strategic plan, I'm happy to help to do that.
Okay. Amen. Now here's your last question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
If you could have any song be your theme song when you walked into a room, what would
Mm.
it be and why?
Um, Well, you caught me off guard. If you'd asked me before, I would have thought long and hard. But the first song that popped into my head when you said that is an old song that was sung by Denise Williams, called Black Butterfly.
Oh, wow. You did go back.
I went, but it's the first song that popped in my head. If I remember it correctly, it's Black Butterfly, sail across the water, tell your sons and daughters where your secret lies. I think that's what the words were. But it's just being the person that you were meant to be, and to share it with the world. And the song is really beautiful too. But but a butterfly is someone that takes the time to become who it is. In this case, who I am. It wasn't something that happened overnight, but it was something that I was always meant to do and meant to be. And so, butterfly is what I became, and a butterfly is who I am. And hopefully beautiful and strong at the same time.
You are. You are. Well, thank you so much. I enjoyed you.
I enjoyed you too. We need to connect again.
Amen. Yes, we do. Stay
Okay,
encouraged.
thank you. Thank you so much. You do the same.
Have a good one. Be careful going
All right.
home.
All right, talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much for being on my show. Your schedule is beyond busy, and I'm just so thankful and blessed that you took the time out to share your story and your passion with us. And if you would like to be on Worldly Church Girl, click the link below, shoot me an email, and let's see what we can do with that thing. And you still haven't subscribed? What are you waiting on? Hit that subscription button so you will never miss another episode. And as always, thanks for joining your one and only Worldly Church Girl.